Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's STORMYBMAN, and I am back. Welcome to STORMYBMAN Live and On the Move. Shout out to Junior the Truth, the originator of On the Move. Yeah. Listen, man, I had a chance to catch the replay of the arrivals last night for CANELO versus CRAWFORD, the grand arrivals as they like to refer to them, the fight that'll take place this Saturday, September 13th at Allegiant Stadium. Yeah, in Vegas. Listen, I didn't catch it live to hear the sound because and the audio because I was doing my live last night, and as I'm watching it this morning, the replay, I'm looking at it and I'm like, hold on, I'm going to say something that nobody talks about. I mean, we talk about it, right? My comrades and I, my fellow brothers and sisters, that's a part of our community here. But listen, I heard it said by Max Kellerman first, and then by that panel of Kriegel and the Crump that was on the panel with him as they were talking about the fight. Something that has been said over and over and over and over and over again, and we just got to take it to task. We have to challenge. Salute to Junior the Truth in the building. What's going on with you, Junior? Good morning to you, brother. And that is, Kellerman says to Crawford, who apparently had arrived first, or at least that's who they decided to talk to first, you know what I mean? Because CANELO is supposed to be the headlining fighter. That doesn't mean that Crawford arrived first. We don't know who arrived first. But anyway, Kellerman says to Crawford, you seem to be embracing the villain role. The idiots on the panel said something similar about being the villain. The last time I checked, Canelo Alvarez is from Mexico. Guadalajara, maybe? I watch a lot of Mexican fighters, so I get their hometowns mixed up. I don't look at it, but I know when a fighter is from Mexico, he's from Mexico. Terrence Bud Crawford is from Omaha, Nebraska, USA. You don't get much more American than Omaha, Nebraska. You could go to Iowa. You can even go to Indiana, right? So what is this embracing the villain role? The man is an accomplished fighter who definitely has a fan base. Mr. Shelton, Freedom's March, good morning to you, brothers. He has a fan base. He has a support network. But he doesn't have the respect of the boxing community. And when I say the boxing community, I'm not talking about us content creators and people who support and go to attend the fights and buy tickets. I'm talking about these color analysts. I'm talking about the sports writers. I'm talking about those who host and promote. And it is about time that someone takes that statement and put it back in their face and shove it up their rear end. enough is enough. The black fighter is not a villain. The black fighter is exactly what the term says. He is the exact pronunciation of that term, because we fight for everything. Our right to exist. We fight for our family. We fight for our dignity. And there is nothing villainous about being prosperous. Why is it that a black fighter, in any event, when he's fighting another fighter that is not the same ethnicity, why is he associated with being the villain? Floyd Mayweather Jr. was the face of boxing after defeating Oscar De La Hoya. And in the promotion leading up to the fight with De La Hoya, Floyd was in De La Hoya's grill. He was talking, he was badgering, he was promoting the fight. The funny thing about it is, Floyd was doing all of that, but his skills in the ring spoke even a higher volume of action than anything he could say out of his mouth. And what he said out of his mouth, I consider a limitation from the man, because he's not thoroughly educated. It could make for great copy with articles. It could even make for great sound bites, but it also can spew great ignorance. And that is something, again, that they used to showcase and promote. Not the loud and vociferous, not the loud and animated, but the ignorance. And see, that's what many people misconstrue about being loud, about having a mouth. You see, because Muhammad Ali, through the influence of Gorgeous George, the wrestler, decided to become a colorful fighter, which he called at that time, which was interesting because it was a time when blacks were referred to as colored. No pun intended. So Ali, being of the nature to be a colorful fighter, meaning he wanted to have the bells and whistles and the attention of the people on him. So he wanted to amplify his presence through charismatic voice, thought, expression, to go along with the colorful athletic style of his boxing. You see, many people who came after Ali would try to emulate Ali. Not the right things, though. They would try to emulate his movement. They would try to emulate his speak. But the one thing that was never really truly emulated throughout this entire time was his character. His ethic of being a man and prideful man in lieu and support of all that is positive regarding his people. See, that's the thing that people left off the table. And he would tell sports writers, scribes, interviewers to their face, "You're racist." What do you mean? Did you call me an N-word? He would say these things. And with fear, they would step back. They would be on guard because he meant it. It was solid. It came from within his soul. So we fast track today and we see all of this ignorance out here in the world. No one still wants to emulate the greatness that came from that man. But we should all take a look back and understand what was at the foundation. Integrity. A man who was willing to lay down his life and die for what he believed in. You could take all of his possessions. You could take all of his wealth and riches. You could take his family, but you cannot take what he believes in away from him. Conviction is the thing that we're speaking of here. So how did we get to Terrence Bud Crawford being the latest to embrace a villainous role? How? How is that? We got Eric Ken out there, G. McCall 09, Jonathan Simon, Daryl Alexander. What's good? Good morning to you all. Please smash the like button as you come in. Steph Brown, what's happening with you, brother? Good morning. Clarence McLean, what's happening with you, brother? Good morning. How is it that the black fighter has to adopt or accept the villainous role? If we check the history on the soil of this country, who has been villainous toward us? In 2025, who is still villainous toward us? And why is it the black fighter can't be acknowledged as a hero? Why isn't he a representation of something that someone else wants to be, aspire toward? Huh? I want to be world champ like him. I want to be 2-time undisputed like him. Maybe I could go 3 times. Maybe I could go 4. You see, as long as they use these key words and the nefarious means of articulation where you don't really think because you're not well read, you're too rebellious to embrace education. Because that's a subliminal message to you that you can't be a hero. Now, they can't come out and say that openly, otherwise that wakes the dead. But you know what anesthesia is? This is how they put you to sleep, by talking like this. And the fact that you let it go, acceptance is consent. You should never allow someone to put a label or tag on you that you have not represented in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Terrence Bud Crawford is not a villain. If you go to his hometown, every time when he has a fight camp to go away for his professional matches, these people throw him a party. These people have a great send-off for him, just as they did for this fight. None of them refer to him as villain. And that's his hometown. So why is it allowed to be an acceptance, a form of acceptance, when someone like Max Kellerman or this Mark Kriegel can get on the national airwaves and speak such foolishness without being challenged? They are villains for saying what they say. Yes, they are. Because I guarantee you, if we could take a microscope and look into their personal lives, we would see some things about them that show their bias, their prejudices, and their bigotry consistently, because this is how they live their lives. You see? But you have to display the nerve, the gall, to get on the air and speak of a man who has made something of his life and represented his family, the area and state where he comes from, and put them on the map, basically. But he's a villain against a guy who just recently learned to speak the English language? Villain. Really? King Styles Productions, salute to you. Good morning. You see, we got it twisted up, people. And that's unacceptable. I wasn't through 10 minutes of that broadcast of the arrivals when I heard this foolishness. And it made me, I didn't intend to do this live this morning, but I had to come out and say something, because I'm sick of it. The villain. Muhammad Ali was a fighter to look up to aspire towards being a professional fighter and trying to embrace to achieve some of the successes that he had. It's very important to know that, as Malcolm X once said, you cannot be what you cannot see. If you can't see someone of prosperity, if you can't see their successes, if you can't see their development, if you can't see the path and trails that they blaze, then there's nothing to look up toward. So when they say you embrace the role of a villain, you need to know what they're saying to you. I'm driving and doing this conversation with you all, but I would like one of you to take the moment out and look up the definition of the word villain. And please put it in the chat. I will patiently wait for you. But please, one of you, if several of you end up doing it, that's fine, but I need at least it to appear in the chat, because I want to make a point off of what I'm saying. definition of a villain. Please. You see, it's important to understand vocabulary. Remember, I said a moment ago about being well read. That's why you need to pick up books. And the least that you should do is follow what the Nation of Islam used to put out for you to read a dictionary from cover to cover. Copy down words out of the said dictionary and learn and study what they mean so that it can fulfill your aptitude to raise it to a higher altitude. Huh? That's the significance of that. Because as so a man elevates psychologically, his ass will follow. My brother Junior the Truth has written, villain is a bad person who does evil deeds and harms others, often an antagonist in a story whom opposes the hero. Thank you, Junior the Truth, my brother. Do you see what I'm saying here? Max Kellerman, who's supposed to be their guy, who is a historian, right? But I'm coming with some history for your ass to understand what the hell he was saying, setting the tone, huh? The last I checked, judges weren't bailing Terrence Crawford out of several of his fights for victory, giving him draws on the scorecards when it should have been points for the other man, giving him a pass for testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs, and that the sanctioning bodies could raise the level of said detected drugs so that it goes beyond the point of the detection that it's acceptable for him to continue, but not even inform the public and the masses or the fighters that what the level is raised toward. Is that not villainous? Is it not villainous? Evil deeds and harms others, often an antagonist in a story who opposes the hero. A bad person. Sounds more like Canelo Alvarez to me. What in the hell are we doing here? You see, this is why you've heard STORMYBMAN say this many times. Words are powerful. Sir Ken has written, a character whose evil actions or motives are important to the plot. That's a simplification of the more detailed definition that Junior put, but it's the same. It's bad, huh? The last I checked about Terrence Bud Crawford, as far as him being a professional fighter, a boxer, he's been pretty damn good. 41 wins, 31 stoppages, and working on attempting to achieve greatness further by becoming a 3-time undisputed world champion, and has done nothing to anyone along the way evil. Huh? He ain't popped dirty. He ain't had judges, that have given him something that he didn't earn. It's been hard work, dedication, according to something that Floyd Mayweather Jr. had made a moniker, And the irony is Floyd Mayweather Jr. was the one that put that first blotch on Canelo's record, Yeah. You see? So how is it we are embracing a villainous role? How is that? This is some straight foolishness, people. But see how it was allowed to be spoken on air unchallenged, untapped, not even taken under the consideration of, hey, can we talk about that for a moment? And this is not the first time. This is just the most recent. But you can't embrace foolishness, my people. Embrace intelligence. Understand, I come out here this morning, I'm en route on my way to my daily grind to take care of my family. And this is what I do. And I come out here because I'm speaking to you all in truth about what's really going on here. I need your support. I need you to take up the baton. I need you to stand on principle. Because if you cannot stand for something, you'll end up falling for any and everything. And if you don't have principle, if you don't have value, if you don't have virtue, if you don't have ethic, you can go whichever way the wind blows. But be that planted stake in the ground and represent in a manner of which there's strength and solidity and foundation. Divine Sense Boxing, what's good with you, brother? Good morning to you. It's probably evening over there where you are. I know you're on a different time zone. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a long time. Appreciate you coming in. Yeah. So I have to say this. Villainous? Really? There was a time when you guys used to talk about Bud Crawford because he wouldn't talk to the media. And that wasn't that he thought the media sucked or anything. He was just an introvert in that manner. That was his personality. But you all began to make him, press him, push him to be more expressive. Bud need to talk. Bud need to speak up for himself. Bud need to do this. Bud. And then when certain things would come out of his mouth, you get mad about that. Really? They kept trying to get the man to say something bad about Canelo to bring a little more heat to the promotion. There's no more heat needed. Sorry about that. I must have went through a dead zone, family. Both men are accomplished fighters. Both men are fighters who their track records speak for themselves. Canelo's a little louder because he's got some blotches, Yeah. That's just kind of spotless. And that makes a difference as well. So, when we're talking about getting a fighter to represent, I don't know a fighter that has represented better. in this current time, where some of you guys have endorsed the fuckery. And that's just my way of putting it, because that's exactly what it has been. And Crawford, even when bad dealings with Bob Arum, remember that quote? Y'all don't know his heart. We did make fun of him like that or whatever. But I'm going to say this about that. Everybody has seen how awful Bob has been, but hasn't Don King been the one that was labeled the villain? Bob was never labeled the villain, was he? Never. But Bob has done some heinous, villainous things to his fighters throughout the years. Just ask the men who have left top-ranked boxing. Huh? And don't forget, there was a time when Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Mikey Garcia, huh? These guys were top-ranked fighters. And they all have something in common for why they left Bob. Huh? You see? Peeling back the layers of the onion to see and expose what's truly at the center. A stench, a powerful stench of truth and fact. Jonathan Simon, salute to you. Divine says, putting together a panel for Bud Canelo fight, hopefully Friday night. Okay, that'll be cool. That will be cool. It's good to see you, Divine Sense. I haven't seen you in a while, man. If you've been doing lives, I haven't got any notifications because you've been out of the loop. If I need to go to your channel and refresh or something like that, I'll do that, because you know I've always supported you, bro. Anyway, Terrence is a hero. Terrence is now a multimillionaire. Something that his mother never foresaw him being. And now her life and his siblings and extended families are enriched, and other families are enriched as a result of his accomplishments. That's pretty heroic to me, huh? That's pretty damn good stuff for a hero who boxing record is without a zero. And I'll land my plane right there. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content and lives like this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Peace to everyone out there, and you all have a most blessed day. I'm gone.